It's been very exciting to see the maturity. And I think it's really is good for confidence going forward in the group of parties. So, I've got a text, so I'm going to read from a text, because you know with negotiations, after negotiations, you have to stick to the text. And the agreements that I can report first really is on the name, which I announced earlier, the Multi-Party Charter for South Africa, as the official name of the coalition. We've agreed on a vision for the coalition. I'll read it out. A new government to build a just, inclusive, and prosperous South Africa based on opportunity, freedom, and security for all its citizens. Full stop. The parties have also agreed to set governing principles. I'll start the agreement. Central to achieving the vision and priorities of a new government is the need to ensure that governance is underpinned by an ethos that seeks to promote South Africa's long-term best interests. We, the parties, undertake to govern in accordance with our shared governing principles, which are a commitment to 1, the South African Constitution, the rule of law, and equality before the law. 2, decentralizing power to the lowest effective level of government. 3, accountable, transparent government with zero tolerance for corruption. 4, capable government that spends public money efficiently to deliver quality services to all. 5, caring government that puts people first and prioritizes the poor. 6, an open market economy. 7, policies guided by evidence that they produce positive results for society. 8, redress our unjust past by promoting non-racialism and unity in our diversity. There's agreement on the priorities for the coalition government. 1, growing the economy and creating jobs. 2, ending load shedding and achieving energy security. 3, achieving law and order that combats crime, corruption, and drugs. 4, ensuring quality education that delivers opportunities for all. 5, delivering basic services to all through high-quality infrastructure. 6, building a professional public service that delivers to all and ending cadre deployment. 7, ensuring quality healthcare for all within a caring healthcare system. 8, building a social relief framework for South African households living in poverty. The parties agreed to broaden the number of parties in the agreement. So I'll read the text. The political parties present resolve to extend invitations to all political parties in South Africa that subscribe to our vision, priorities of government, shared governing principles, and the prerequisite to unseat the ANC and keep the EFF out. All political parties that subscribe and act according to these principles are requested to come forward and engage in talks to join the multi-party charter for South Africa. And the parties resolve that all of these political parties that are interested to join will be objectively judged. That ends it. Thank you.
That's the report back from Professor Gumede. What we're going to do now is each head of the political party is going to come and give a short message, and we're going to start with Mr. Christopher Claassen, President of Spectrum National Party.
Good evening, South Africa. What an honor to be part of this new multi-party charter for South Africa. There is hope for all South African citizens. This pact has really, I'm so impressed to be the leader of Spectrum National Party and to work alongside with the political parties who are part of this multi-party charter for South Africa. Today has been a great day. And sometimes you need to disagree to agree, and that is make this pact of this team so unique. And we believe that tomorrow, when we continue with our second half of our agenda, then we will share much more with you. So please support this movement of this multi-party charter for South Africa, and we can assure you that your lives will never be the same again when we as political parties stand together to remove the ANC from power. You deserve better. That is our guarantee. That is what we can offer you. But the power is in your hands. God bless you. And we're looking forward to share more with you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Claassen, President of Spectrum National Party. Can I now call on Mr. Neil de Beer, President of the United Independent Movement.
We used to sing a song. Yende lenjela si hamba yo. Indi lenjela isi hamba. Yes. For those that don't, uteta isikosa nomsaj. That means it is a long walk to freedom. There's a long pad om vryheid te kry. I think today we started that journey. We are not looking behind us. They always say a CV tells you where you've been. I am more interested to know, where are we going? I look at the leaders here today. Make no mistake, the barometer and the heat was turned off and on. But at the end of the day, consensus is agreed that this country demands better leadership, better solutions, better government, and a better country for all. And if this is the way that we can conduct ourselves today, there's a promise that Ugomsa will be a better day to bring us to that. I want to thank everyone here of giving me the privilege of being here today, and I look forward to tomorrow. Advancements we have made, agreements we have done, but there's still a long journey ahead of us. And I look forward to seeing you soon, and maybe then the media can ask what the hell they want to, and we will be ready for it. Siyabulela, inkosi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neil de Beer, President of the United Independent Movement. I now call on Dr. Zukile Luenga, President of ISANCO, the Independent South African National Civic Organization.
Good evening, South Africa, to all leaders of all parties that are here present and members of the pact. I want to tell South Africans that now, tomorrow, will never be like yesterday. There is change that is coming up with like-minded minds. I am so grateful to be part of this arrangement. And this arrangement is biblically correct because in the book of Proverbs 13, verse 20, I quote, "He who walks with wise men becomes wise, And he continues to say, a companion of fools shall be destroyed. It is so great to be part of the leaders of the political parties that have been long in the game, but they were never given an opportunity by the communities to take the lead. Now this is the time for that. John, Herman, Baba Thabisa, Baba Grunewald, you are capable of taking us forward. Take this South Africa forward. It belongs to you, like-minded minds. We are united as Isango. We are so proud to be part of you, because now government will be led by communities, by the people, not individual political ideologies that have killed this country. I thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Luyenga, President of Isango. I now would like to call upon Mr. Herman Mashaba, President of ActionSA.
Fellow South Africans, in particular leaders of political parties involved in this really tough but productive engagement. I honestly I don't think I'll have sufficient words to express how I now feel than how I felt in the morning, in the beginning of this process. I really want to convey my greatest gratitude to all of you, because 1994, when I went out to vote, I went to vote for a new dispensation, brighter future for my kids and my grandchildren. Unfortunately, that dream 29 years later, it almost disappeared. And I'm so glad that this afternoon we've managed to rekindle that dream again. What we achieved today, without any doubt, historic. Something that in the morning I was saying to myself, are we all going to be able to really reach consensus? Was it easy? What's easy in life? Fortunate enough, I was born and raised in an environment that's tough. That's why I'm a tough human being, because I accept life to be what it is. And us as human beings, God has given us these little brains to use to navigate those challenges. Members of the media, thank you so much for really being made to wait and really being with us to inform people of South Africa about the new dispensation, about the new future that we are creating for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you, everyone. Fellow South Africans, we are going to start a new chapter come 2024. I'm confident about that. Give us a chance. We still have tomorrow to finish our agenda, but I'm positive. What we're going through today, I cannot see us failing to achieve even further heights tomorrow. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you to Mr. Herman Mashaba, from President of ActionSA. I now call on Dr. Peter Groenewald, leader of the Freedom Front Plus. Dr. Groenewald.
Thank you very much and good evening. For your patience also, thank you for that. This morning I said that we as politicians must set an example, that we as political leaders of its own political parties, its own identities, that we will take hands and reach consensus on how we can save South Africa. Now, I am pleased to say that if you have listened to the name, the vision, the shared principles and the priorities, that is proof that we as political party leaders took hands and we are putting forward to the people of South Africa that we believe that these principles and these priorities will save South Africa and will create a better future for all in South Africa, because that is what we want. And we're setting that example. taking a whole day. But it is not only a whole day. You must understand that these negotiations are actually coming over the last 3 months as well. Because I said it is an initiative of all the political parties. It is not easy, but I can say tonight that I am pleased that rational thinking of what is in the best interest of South Africa, its people, and our future, we have achieved that, and we are appealing to the electorate of South Africa, make our hands stronger so that we can create a better future for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Groenewald, leader of the Freedom Front Plus. I now call on Mr. V.F. Schlabisa, president of the Inkatha Freedom Party.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I firstly want to thank the media for being patient with us. Again, this afternoon, I want to greet the people of South Africa. In the morning, we set the tone that as we engage in the National Convention, we will ensure that we put the people of South Africa first. It is a great pleasure on behalf of the IFP to thank the media for allowing us to show accountability and transparency to the people of South Africa. What we are doing now is to confirm that the deliberations that we have been engaged in during this day have not only about us as political leaders, but about the people of South Africa. We have made a great progress in terms of giving a name, which has been read by our independent facilitator, Professor William Gumede. We also agreed on the principles and values, the shared governing principles, as well as a vision of the country we all dream, which is a better country than what we have currently. We also committed ourselves to work and ensure that we definitely achieve the 50% plus one by mobilizing the 14 million people who are dormant and 13 million people who are unregistered, so that the 27 million ensure that we remove the government that has failed our people. I want to thank all the leaders with whom we have been involved today, because we have ensured that coalition is about compromise and finding the common grounds in the interest of people. We are confident that going forward, we will revive hope, progress, and prosperity to the people of South Africa, and we commit to do the best we can to make their dreams that has been destroyed to be reawakened and build South Africa that we'll all be proud of. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much to Mr. Schlabisa, President of the IFP. And then the next speaker is Mr. John Steenhuisen, Federal Leader of the Democratic Alliance.
Thank you very much, and good evening to the fellow leaders and the members of the media and those watching at home. When I opened my remarks this morning, I said very clearly that while there'd be politicians sitting around the table, this was actually about the people of South Africa. And I think that any South African sitting at home worried about the future, worried about their children, worried about whether they can find work, worried about the high rate of crime in the country, worried about the fact that the lights are off in large parts of South Africa as we speak, that help is on the way. Because what we've done today is to lay the foundations of a new majority in South Africa that is going to sweep the ANC out of power and usher in a new government that puts people ahead of politicians. The robust engagements that we've had today have been robust, but certainly sincere. And it has been great to be able to share a negotiating table with the teams from the other parties. But also I want to pay a special thank you to Professor Gumede, who I'm sure his experience of most politicians is them fighting like a bunch of cats in a sack. But he took the courage to put his hand into the sack today, and I think he's been himself surprised with what has come out of it. So thank you very much, Prof. Gumede and your team. Obviously, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I think that the step that we've taken today, together, determinedly, and with vigor, represented in this alternative program, which will continue to be fleshed out as we continue, just as it has been worked on for the last 11 weeks, is a beacon of hope for all South Africans, that help is on the way, change can happen, and that tomorrow can be better than today. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Steenhuisen, Federal Leader of the Democratic Alliance. Okay, I have consulted Professor Gumede as the independent chairperson, and he will take 2 questions on behalf of everyone. So hands up, not the people who spoke this morning. Okay, this gentleman, 1, 2, okay. Okay, 3, okay, so, but I'm going to ask the people who didn't speak, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I've missed, okay, you see, that's when the problem comes in. Okay, so let's not waste time because we want to continue. Can we pass the roving mic? I'm going to ask for 2 questions to be posed, and then Professor Gumede will reply, and then the next 2 questions to be posed, and we'll see how we're going from there. Thank you very much. And please can I ask you to identify who you are and what news channel or what newspaper you're from. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And good evening to everyone in the top table and my colleagues at this side. My name is Mawande. I work for the Sunday World. Perhaps the first question, well, it will depend who answers the question. I'll just shoot the question.
Only Professor Gumede is going to answer the question.
Okay. Mr. Steenhuisen talks about, while there were politicians around the table, this is about South Africans. The question I have with regards to that, why is it, as a South African at home, must I trust that these particular political parties are the ones that have my interest and not the ones that are being kept out in the form of the ANC and the EFF? And then number 2, on that question of the EFF and the ANC, it does appear at a higher level that this is a conglomeration or a coalition that seeks only to stop the ANC and the EFF, yet on the other side you talk about being free to consult. Also, what is wrong with the EFF, which is not in government, which has never governed, at least at the country level, since its formation 10 years ago?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The lady next to you.
Hi, Lizagat Tandwa from the Mail and Guardian. I really would love for these questions to be posed to the political leaders, but in any case...
I'm just going to explain. We're in the middle of negotiations, and it's better they will answer them all tomorrow. Okay.
Mr. Claassen did say that the engagements were heated at some stage not. Just to clarify, what were the sticking points that led to the heat in the room? John, I would have really liked for John to answer this question, and it's around the agreement that has been made that all parties are now invited. They're expanding this coalition there's a patriotic alliance which has been a sticking point. Is this a party that now you will objectively look at in terms of joining? And Prof.
Guys, 1 question. Everybody's asking 3, but one more, okay?
Kind of forced to. But Prof, in terms of, because what it seems like from just hearing all the political party leaders, it seems like it's at its finality, this engagement. What more do you have to discuss? And I ask this because there's been statements that were made, particularly by Mr. Groenewald, around a black president. Will this form part of the discussions? Thank you.
Thanks very much. Professor Gumede.
Thank you for the questions. Obviously, I can't respond on behalf of the politicians here, so it's just what it is. So I can only speak what is in my remit, what is in my mandate. Maybe just to start with, I think I'll start with the sticking points. Okay, so one of the big issues really is just in terms of broadening the parties in the agreement, in terms of engaging with other parties, with other opposition parties, and I think that's the best way that I can describe it. It was a critical issue in terms of how would a coalition look like? Is a coalition, will it just be the core group? Would it be extended group? And if it's an extended group, what kind of other political parties would be part of it? And how do you choose what parties would be part of it? You know, how do you come up with criteria? How do you come up with the values, shared values? And then how do you engage? Who gets the mandate to engage? And so on. And so that really has been among the sticky points. Obviously, it's been resolved. So it's a significant, I think it's an absolutely significant victory for the group. Agreement, significant consensus as they build the largest opposition coalition that is possible based on shared values. Okay. I mean, there was a question in terms of, I mean, it's obviously a question directed to the politicians, so I am here to respond as an independent chairperson. It was is the coalition being built to oppose the ANC and the EFF. So obviously I can't respond to that because there's a political question, but I can respond in terms of my own guidance to the coalition partners. Essentially, when one builds an effective coalition, a competitive coalition, it is not against other parties. It is you build a compelling vision for the future and something that can compel ordinary citizens, those who haven't voted before, those who feel dejected, those who feel hopeless, that becomes really the platform of any coalition. And that really is my job. And as a person who would advise the coalition partners, it really is how do they build a compelling alternative vision, which is convincing and which sounds credible and which is authoritative, and which is not standing against something, but stands for something. And that historically, if you look at all the last 50 years or so of victorious coalitions outside South Africa, it's always been based on a compelling vision for something, because you have to win the hearts and minds and souls of people with something positive, okay? Not on the negative side.
And that is the briefing there that is taking place in Kempton Park. Independent chairperson Professor William Gumede, who has been facilitating these discussions between the 7 political parties who are part of this multi-party national convention, who have agreed that at the end of this they will produce a multi-party charter for South Africa.